The clock in Asheville struck midnight, a hollow, broken sound swallowed by an endless wall of fog. The town, once a thriving mining settlement nestled deep in the Rockies, was now a festering corpse. Buildings sagged inward, coated in black mildew. Streetlights leaned like dying sentinels. The very air tasted rotten, as if the ground itself exhaled death. Eleanor Vance tightened her grip on her flashlight. It was her third night on the road, chasing rumors. Always rumors, strange lights, mutilated bodies, voices in the mist. She was used to ghost stories. But Asheville was different. Her boots squelched on a carpet of wet, black moss growing over cracked asphalt. A recorder dangled from her jacket, quietly humming, capturing every breath, every whisper. "This is Eleanor Vance," she spoke into it, voice steady despite the growing knot in her stomach. "Asheville, Colorado. Officially abandoned 1989. Cause undetermined. Current status unknown." She paused, wiping mist from her lenses. "And tonight I find out why." The words tasted hollow. She advanced toward the heart of town. The fog shifted strangely around her, as if recoiling from something far worse deeper within. And then a noise. Wet. Animalistic. A gurgling moan, half choked, half snarled. Eleanor froze. From the mist stumbled a figure. Its body was a grotesque ruin, bloated beyond recognition, flesh splitting in jagged seams. Pustules the size of fists pulsed across its chest. Black fluid dripped from its mouth. But the worst were its hands, or what had once been hands, now grotesquely overgrown, each finger swollen like a fat leech, dragging against the ground and leaving slimy trails behind it. Behind the first came more. Dozens. Their forms misshapen, fused together by gnarled, cancerous growths. Some crawled with spider-like spasms. Others moved with shuddering, lurching gaits, their bones visibly snapping under their own bloated weight. A single scream built in Eleanor's throat, but she swallowed it. "Run!" She turned on her heel and bolted. The creatures followed, their gurgling moans merging into a dreadful, rising cacophony. Their footsteps slapped wetly against the asphalt. She raced past rusting cars twisted by time, past houses that seemed to sigh as she passed. Her light flickered, and then caught on something truly horrifying. A corpse nailed to a telephone pole. Except it wasn't just dead, it was missing its hands. And fresh blood still leaked from the stumps. The ground trembled under her feet. The creatures were catching up. Eleanor spotted a narrow alley and dove into it, knocking over a trash can. A bloated hand swiped at her head, missing by inches and slamming into the brick wall with a sickening splatter of black ichor. The alley dead-ended at a heavy metal door. Eleanor slammed her shoulder against it, once, twice. Finally it gave way, and she tumbled into darkness. The scent of mildew and blood hit her like a punch to the gut. She scrambled to her feet, coughing. A faint light illuminated the room, a battered oil lamp on a reception desk. Behind it stood a man, skeletal, wrapped in a moth-eaten suit. His eyes gleamed like twin shards of glass. "You made it," he rasped. Eleanor staggered back, aiming her flashlight weakly at him. "Who are you?" she demanded. "The last librarian," he said with a twisted smile. "Caretaker of Asheville's memory." Outside, the creatures slammed against the walls, their moans rattling the windows. "You can't stay here," the librarian continued. "The harvest is tonight." "What harvest?" Eleanor demanded. The librarian lifted his hand into the lamplight. It was no hand, it was a stitched mass of human fingers, sewn together with black wire. Some of the fingers twitched, reaching hungrily toward her. Eleanor recoiled in horror. "You'll see," he whispered. Soon enough. The wall behind her cracked with a sharp snap. Fingers, dozens of them, pushed through the splintering wood. Eleanor ran, sprinting through the labyrinthine rows of collapsed bookshelves. Between gaps in the collapsing walls, she glimpsed horrors. Rooms stacked with severed hands, some fresh and twitching, others shriveled into leather. Creatures feeding, ripping flesh from still-living captives, sewing the stolen hands onto their bloated bodies. The harvest was literal. Ashvale's residents had once tried to escape death by preserving their bodies with dark rituals, but the magic had twisted them. Now they could only survive by grafting new hands onto their decaying flesh. Eleanor realized the truth. They needed her. They needed her hands. And they were coming. Bursting through a fire exit, Eleanor stumbled into the streets. The clock tower loomed above, its broken bell shuddering in the fog. The town gates were visible now, tall, iron, rusted but intact. Freedom. She sprinted toward them, dodging creatures lunging from the fog. One caught her by the backpack. She slipped free, rolling hard across the moss-slick road. Her palm split open on shattered glass, blood streaking down her wrist. The smell of fresh blood drew them faster. The moans grew ecstatic. A monstrous figure, larger than the others, lumbered into view. Its entire body was a patchwork of stolen flesh, and it wore hundreds of severed hands like a cloak. Hands that clutched and grasped even in death. It roared, a deafening, bone-rattling sound, and charged. Eleanor ran harder, lungs burning. She was only a few yards from the gate when she tripped, falling hard. Pain shot up her ankle, twisted. Broken. Crying out, she crawled forward. The ground beneath her was slick with blood and slime. The giant loomed over her. It swung one enormous arm, a clotted mass of stitched fingers, and she rolled aside just in time. The ground where she had lain exploded into shards of stone. Eleanor pulled herself upright, limping toward the gate. Closer, closer. Hands grabbed her, bloated, twitching, tearing at her jacket, her skin. She kicked and lashed out, feeling teeth tear into her shoulder. The gate was right there. With a final, gasping effort, she slammed into it, and it swung open. She staggered through, into crisp, clean air. The mist did not follow. The creatures howled behind her, clawing at the threshold, but unable to cross. She collapsed on the road outside, blood soaking her clothes, tears burning her eyes. She had made it. Or so she thought. Eleanor tried to stand, but her legs wouldn't move. She looked down and screamed. Her skin was already turning gray, splitting. Black moss spread from a bite on her shoulder, spiraling outward like veins of death. She remembered the librarian's final words. No one leaves Ashvale whole. The curse was in her blood now. The infection irreversible. Ashvale had simply let her go, to carry the rot beyond its borders. As the mist swallowed the town behind her, Eleanor Vance lay helpless on the road, her flesh writhing, hands spasming uncontrollably as new, grotesque fingers began to split from her skin. At the horizon, the first headlights appeared. A search party. More hands for Ashvale's harvest. And somewhere deep within the mist, the broken clock struck one.